and welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica. I have recently joined the Clover Squad, which means that they have sent me a really fun box of supplies to share with you guys. I'm going to be going through a bunch of different products that Clover has to offer, and I will also be trying them on my Instagram. So I'll put my Instagram right here. Make sure to follow me over there so you can kind of see my thoughts. I haven't tried everything that's in this box, but it looks like a lot of fun. So let's see what they have to offer. By the way, if you want to join the Clover Squad, it's super easy. All you have to do is just, it's a Clover Creators, no rules, no boundaries, just your imagination and quality Clover tools. All you have to do is show your Clover pride by using hashtag Clover Squad when using your Clover tools, and then you're automatically entered to win Clover prizes each time you use the Clover Squad hashtag. So super fun, and you get some really cool products as well. Let's go ahead and check it out. By the way, if you're not sure who Clover is, they're a manufacturer of quality sewing, quilting, knitting, crochet, and craft tools. They're based in Ontario, California. And yeah, I have used Clover products for years. Some of my favorite products are in this box, and some new ones that I haven't even had a chance to try yet. So I'm super excited. So let's just dig right in. So the first thing we have right here is a water-soluble marker, and these are amazing, especially if you're a quilter. I use these all the time to draw lines on my projects, and then I can quilt directly on the line, and I'm not having to kind of like eyeball it. And then they're water-soluble, so they come off with just a little bit of water. If you're just doing a small project that you're not going to stick in the wash, you can just use a wet like paper washcloth and wipe off the lines. Or if you're using a quilt, you can just stick it in the wash and your lines will be gone. So I really like these. I've actually used this product before. Definitely give it a thumbs up, and I have probably a few already sitting over there in my little storage caddy. All right, the next thing we have is the Clover Rotary Cutter, and I actually have not used one of these. I tend to use a different brand, so I'm excited to try this new one. Much like most rotary trimmers, it looks like they have this little lever right here, and you can just push that up to expose the blade and then pull it down when not in use. So very easy. Let's take this out of the package and see how well it feels in my hands. Okay, so when you pull down on this little lever here, it exposes the blade so you can cut, and then you just have to push up on it. There you see, and voila. And it feels nice and sturdy in my hands. There's also these little side grips for your fingers, so when you're trimming, you have something to kind of hang on to, and it's a fun, pretty green color. So as long as this guy works okay, I think it feels really nice and solid in your hands. So you can kind of see it from the back there. So there we go, Clover Rotary Trimmer. I'm excited to try this one. I haven't tried this one yet. All right, our next product in here, and I have already tried this, and this works wonderfully, is a Clover seam press. And this is basically a no heat, just seam roller. All right, so I took it out for you really quick so you can kind of see what it looks like. So you just hang on to it like this, and I actually kind of put my finger in that little hole, and then this little roller, you'll just roll your seams, much like in this picture right here. And I use this little gadget all the time, actually, especially when I don't want to get out my iron. This is great. So I'll just have this right by my sewing machine. Sorry if you can hear the jingling in the bottom. That's Jack's chasing one of his toys around. But I will just keep this right by my sewing machine, and then if I just have a small seam I need to press so I can kind of combine two blocks, I'll just do it right there at my sewing machine. And at first when I got this, I got it in one of my subscription boxes, and I honestly wasn't that sure about it, but this works really, really well. The other thing I use this for are my kiddos, because that way they can press seams without having to use a heat iron. And so this works great if you have younger sewers, but like I said, I actually use mine all the time. So thumbs up for the seam roller. All right, next up is one of my all-time favorite seam rippers. I already have this one, and my daughters are always trying to steal it from me, so I'm kind of excited to get another one in my hands here. But this is the Clover seam ripper. My favorite thing about this seam ripper is probably the grip on it. As you can see, it's a nice wide grip, and it has a little bit of a rubber tip right here, so it kind of helps you grip, and then it's got a really nice sharp point on it as well. And this is probably, gosh, I've gone through a ton of seam rippers in my time, and this is probably my all-time favorite seam ripper ever. By the way, before I forget, we are doing a giveaway, so Clover is sponsoring a giveaway for one of you guys. So look in the description box below this video to see how to enter to win. Clover is going to be sending out a nice little box of goodies for one of you. All right, next thing we have here are some Clover Wonder Clips, and these, in my opinion, are a must-have for your sewing room. I use these all the time, and if you've watched any of my bag videos, you already know that I use these. These are great for keeping layers together, especially thicker layers. They're also great for holding on binding if you're going to hand bind quilts, and really kind of just keeping any projects together. I even have used these to hold my little number tags on my stacks of fabric when I'm trying to cut a ton of pieces for quilting. So multifunctional. I have a whole box of these already, and these are probably one of my top sewing supply picks, I would say. Definitely love these. All right, my next item here are some Clover pins, and I actually have used these. These pins are great. They're nice and long. They're quite sharp actually, and then they have these nice little tips on them, so they're really easy to pick out. Another thing I like is that the tips are flat, as you can see there, and so when I'm sewing, I kind of just can put my thumb on them and just slide them out of the way, and they're not bulky, so they don't get in the way of your project. So also a must-have in my opinion. These are great. All right, another one of my favorite products, see if I can get my camera to focus here, there we go, is this Hera marker, and I have had this guy for a while. This is another one of my top picks for sure. I use this guy to turn like pockets for my bags right side out. You can use the pointy end to kind of poke out those corners. It's great if you're doing applique pieces. You can use the pointy end to poke out things. You can use this curved end to kind of really smooth out any edges when you're turning right side out. And you can also use this to mark your fabric. So instead of using like a pin or something, you can use this guy and draw lines on a quilt or a quilt block or a bag or whatever, and then follow those marks when you're quilting instead of using, you know, like a pen or something to actually write on your bag. So this is definitely a multifunctional tool. Like I said, I've had this one in my sewing room for a long time, and it's probably one of my top picks. All right, next up, and these are ones I have not used. So it is a threader plus a cutter, and as you can see, one of the ends here has a little cutter on it, and then the other end sticking out has a little needle threader. I think this would be a super handy tool to have in your box. I haven't actually used this one, but it looks pretty functional to me just looking at it through the case here. My main problem with these are these tiny little threaders can get bent pretty easy, so you'll just want to keep it in like a nice little case or something like that so that they don't get ruined. So the next product I have is this. This is like a soft and hard thimble, kind of all in one. So there we go. As you can see, the part that goes around your finger is a nice soft kind of silicone rubber, and then it still has the metal tip on the end as well. And so definitely handy for embroidering or doing any kind of hand quilting. Super comfortable to wear. I have actually tried these ones and I do like them. I like that it's not a solid metal because this kind of is a little more flexible on your finger, but then you still have the, you know, the harder metal tip on the end for pushing needles through. It's kind of saved your finger a little bit. And I use these whenever I'm embroidering on quilt blocks. I don't do a lot of hand sewing, but if you were to do quilt binding by hand, or like I said, you know, do hand quilting, hand binding, or any kind of embroidery on your blocks, this would be a great tool to have. Our next product here are these quilting scissors, and these are really nice quality scissors. I actually did try them out. These are 7 3/4 inch scissors, and let me take them out so you can see them a little better. So here they are, and then they also come with this nice little case, so you can, and I really love these cases, that way you can throw them in bags, you can leave them in your sewing room, and you know that the tips aren't going to get damaged, and you're not going to poke yourself or your fabric or anything like that, especially if you're going to like a retreat or something like that. And I actually tend to keep my scissors in the little case just to kind of keep them protected, as well as protect the other things in my sewing room. So once the case comes off, they've got a really nice feel to them, super smooth, and then they have these nice grips. They feel pretty comfortable to me. They do feel like great scissors. They're a good weight. They don't feel cheap or anything like that. They feel like they're a nice weight, and they feel nice and smooth. So I'm assuming these will be a great addition to my sewing room. All right, next up we have this little Tailor's chalk. And if you've never seen one of these before, here is what it looks like. It's just a little triangle piece of chalk, and then you can use it to draw lines on fabric before quilting. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this though is you do not want to iron over these or send it to be dry cleaned or whatever. The marks will then stay on. So you want to make sure that you remove marks before sending anything in to get dry cleaned if that's what you're going to be using it for. Otherwise, I would most likely just be using this to mark my fabric, and it's just chalk, so it will come off with water. And it also does say that pressing too hard can make the mark difficult to remove as well. Now, I will say that I actually haven't used a Tailor chalk before. I tend to stick with either friction markers or the water soluble markers, so this is a new to me product, and I will try it out for you guys and let you know how easy it is. Make sure that it comes off darker and lighter fabrics, okay? But I have seen other people use these. They're nice and sharp on the edges here. Hopefully you can kind of see that. So it makes it really easy to draw nice lines with these. And obviously it's called a Tailor marker for a reason. They use these usually when you're doing clothing, and they're just nice to hang on to and then just easy to make lines with. So I'll let you know how this tool works out for me. Like I said, stay tuned to my Instagram and I'll test it out for you guys there. All right, the next thing in my box here are some Milliners needles and sharp needles. Sharp needles are basically just used for general purpose sewing, you know, embroidery projects, things like that. The longer these needles, hopefully you can kind of see, these needles are obviously a little bit longer and they have a rounder eye. And they're good for, let's see, hat making, pleating, ribbon embroidery, and embellishing decorations. So 2 different styles of needles. I want to say I've probably used both of these, and so far I have no complaints about the Clover needles at all. They're nice and easy. If you can see, they have like these kind of gold tips on them. It helps you thread your needle a little better. In my opinion, you can see them a little bit better. So that might just be a personal preference on my part, but I do like having those gold ends on them. And then yeah, I've used them before. They're nice and sharp, and I've used these for a multitude of projects. All right, and then the last thing in my box is this super cute magnetic pin keeper, and this one is a heart, and it's nice and heavy. I'll go ahead and open it for you. So here's what it looks like, and then it has this lid. Oh, it matches my fingernails. It has this lid that comes off. All right, so here it is with some of my little pins on it, and as you can see, they just it kind of makes it a little bit easier to pick up with that little indent in there, but they just sit across there, and then you can just pick off one and put it back. And then when you are not in use, you can put this little lid on, and that keeps them all nice and tidy in there, and also great if you're going to a retreat or anything like that, which I am getting ready to do here in a few weeks actually. And so yeah, that would make it nice. Then your pins are all nice and secure, and they're not gonna like come off, you know, like they would have a regular magnetic bowl, and then you can just open them up and there they all are. So super cute and fun product. So that is everything that came in my Clover Squad box, you guys. This is a super fun gift to get. I'm really excited to try out all of these products. And like I said, if you want to join the Clover Squad, all you have to do is share using their hashtag, and you'll be entered to win some goodies. And then like I mentioned, I have a giveaway for a bunch of these goodies as well for just watching this video. So head into my description box below, and all the details on how to enter the giveaway will be down there, so you guys can get some fun Clover products too. So I just want to thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I mentioned, make sure to follow me on my Instagram right here. I will be trying some of these products out probably in my stories, so make sure to check those out, and I'll try them out for you. You can kind of see them live and see how they all work there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. Please make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below on what your favorite product was, and especially if you've tried something, make sure to leave a comment with that as well, so other people can get your insights on the products as well. So thanks for joining me today, and I will see you next time.